Make sure you are on this thing. This is very valuable information. Here we go. It looks like it is. Boom. So we're live. Hey y'all. Hey, hey, hey. She said, okay, I can see you and I can hear you. First of all, I wanted to definitely introduce if you are new to my page, I want to introduce who I am and first of all why I'm even doing this. My name is Lavera Coleman of Coleman Financials Credit Repair. I pretty much love helping people understand credit. I got quite a few things under my belt. And so today we're going to hear from a professional. When you are looking to repair your credit sometimes, or just in life, sometimes bills hit you and it forces you to either file bankruptcy or you get your credit fixed. So Jamal and I have partnered together and we kind of work very closely. So if I have clients who are like, man, I can't, I got creditors coming at me like crazy, I'm sending them straight over to Jamal. Me, I don't have all the answers when it comes down to bankruptcy because that's not my field. That's why I partner with a professional. And so today, that's what you're going to get. We're going to touch on some things. What is bankruptcy? Is there a difference between chapter 13 and chapter 7? I'm sure y'all have heard of those terms. And then also we're going to talk about how do you file? He's going to touch on some of the things, the common things that he do see in his area. So before I bring him up, I definitely want to let you guys know who he is. Listen, this guy right here, he's amazing. He's God-fearing. And when I met him, this is one of the hardest working individuals that I've honestly met in my life. When I came to my church, and that's how I met him at my church. So first of all, to know that he knows God, I know that sending my people over there, he's going to take care of them. He really, truly does have a passion for helping people, y'all. So that's the thing. When I'm partnering with people, it's definitely not about the money with nobody that I'm teaming with, but especially not this guy. He loves what he does, loves his family, and all he wants to do is see people win. So he and I work together. He is an attorney, y'all. So he is qualified to talk about this stuff. He is just not somebody that I randomly picked on the streets. This is a professional. He's an attorney. So I want to introduce to some, y'all, and present to others, none other than my friend, my business partner, okay, and attorney, Jamal Walker. Are you there, Jamal? Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing this evening?
I am doing fantastic. Listen, they are excited to see you on today. They have been begging me to get you back, and I'm glad that you are back to finally shed some more light. I've gotten more followers, and so a lot of the questions have become like, how do I file bankruptcy? When do I need bankruptcy? So we're going to kind of work through some of the common things that you may see in, just when people come to you, prematurely, either wanting to file bankruptcy or when is it time to pull the trigger. So you guys, if you have questions, make sure you type the questions in the comments. That's what this is, a Q&A, and we'll try to get through those. But we have some common questions first that we're going to hit on, and then we'll handle those towards the end of the actual presentation. Okay. So Jamal, tell me this. Like, I get a lot of times like people asking me like, what is bankruptcy and how it works. So if you would please just kind of shed light on what is bankruptcy and just start there. Like, what is bankruptcy? And then we'll move into the types of bankruptcies after you explain it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on today. And you and Mr. Coleman do such a great job at what you all do, and y'all work hard as well. So it's always nice to team up with people who work hard. So I appreciate you for having me on again.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, as far as what bankruptcy is, basically it's just a legal process. You go through the court system. It's a federal court that you go to for bankruptcy, but it's pretty much a way to get debt relief. When you can't pay your debts for some reason or another, you would probably need to file bankruptcy if it becomes overwhelming. And it's just a court process to do that.
Okay. And so are there different types of bankruptcies? Like I hear, some people tell me about chapters. Could you explain the whole chapter 7 versus chapter 13 and what are the differences in the two?
Okay, yeah. So you have chapter 7, you have chapter 11, you have chapter 13. Those are some of the bankruptcies that you can file, but most people like you and I will be considered consumers, and most consumers will file either a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13. The Chapter 7 is what I like to call the fresh start bankruptcy. That's where you pretty much wipe out all the debt that you have that you include in the bankruptcy. And those will be mostly unsecured debts like credit cards, medical bills, things of that nature. Or if you got a car repossessed and they sue you to pay off the balance, you can file a Chapter 7. The other chapter will be a Chapter 13. Most people in Shelby County, I hear most people call that wage earner, but that's where you file, and it's like a repayment plan. It's like a reorganization. You are filing that bankruptcy because either you make too much money, there's a median, and that varies between the states. So you have to discuss that with an attorney. I'm licensed in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So, if anybody has any specific questions from each of those states, they can reach me at a later time and I can answer. But generally speaking, it's a means test that determines if you make too much money to file a Chapter 7. You have to make a certain threshold, and it's based on the size of your household. So some people file 13 because they make too much money to file a Chapter 7. But another reason you will file a 13 is because you have some kind of secured debt that you want to keep. And when I say secured, that means the money is tied to a piece of property, like a house or a car, something of that nature. You're 2 months behind on your car note and they're threatening to repossess it, then you will file a 13 because you want to keep that car. Or if your house is facing foreclosure, you 2, 3, 4, 5 months behind on that, you will file a 13 because you want to keep that home.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now I know you mentioned kind of Chapter 11. They don't really run into that. I really don't hear that either. So that's not really something that they will pretty much run into. So Chapter 7 and 13 are really the common bankruptcies that they'll see. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, Chapter 11 is for businesses. So, if any business that's out there that want to file bankruptcy and want to keep the business open, they will file a Chapter 11. But we'll keep. Yeah,
after COVID-19, it's some businesses that's going to have to file bankruptcy because, if you were in a business that required you kind of hands-on, man, the business owners we're taking a hit during this time. So if you are a business owner that are listening in, he said that a Chapter 11, but again, you may want to consult with a attorney first before you do any of that. But yeah, that's associated with your business. Okay, I didn't even know your business can file bankruptcy. I guess so. We paying taxes. So tell me this: if someone is attempting to file bankruptcy, how do they go about doing this? Is it like a process where, hey, you reach out, you get a consult, maybe someone looks at something, and then what are the steps as far as if someone absolutely, well, first of all, how do we even know when a person needs bankruptcy? Is it where, tell us about that. I know sometimes when clients come to me, they're like, I'm thinking about filing bankruptcy, but I don't quite know. What are some of the key things that says, okay, this person may need to file bankruptcy?
Well, it's always good to consult an attorney, whether you know or don't know, and most attorneys do a free consultation. I know I do a free consultation, so it doesn't hurt to set an appointment and talk to the attorney and see if bankruptcy is even a good option. Most people look at bankruptcy like a bad thing because we see Wheel of Fortune and you go bankrupt, you lose all your money, or you play Monopoly, you don't want to go bankrupt. But so it's a bad connotation, but it's actually a useful tool if you just cannot handle your debt. And so sometimes it's necessary to file bankruptcy and sometimes it's not. And sometimes you can kind of wait it out and see. Sometimes I might tell the client, well, let's see what happens first before you need to file. But the process for filing a bankruptcy or even starting the process is to consult with an attorney, kind of review what debts you have. I always ask clients, what reason do you want to file bankruptcy? Everybody has different reasons. So, okay, that puts us in a frame of whether you want to file a 7 or a 13. If it's not a debt that you're getting sued about, a lot of times you might be getting sued and have to go to court. You might have something that's getting repossessed, like I mentioned earlier, a car or a vehicle getting repossessed. You might be facing a foreclosure. You have other options as well during those things, but it's kind of based on how immediate the harm is and whether you need to file. Like garnishment, for instance, if you're getting garnished, a lot of times people want to file bankruptcy because they're getting money taken out their check. 25% of their check is going, and they need to stop that to stop the bleeding on that. They might want to file bankruptcy, and bankruptcy stops garnishment. Bankruptcy stops repossession if the car is being bought and not leased. You can stop it if it's being leased, but if it gets taken, you have to. It's a different process on the back end.
What about the repossess? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's some people that are asking like about when they're pending like eviction. How does that work? Does it stop the eviction process as well?
In a Chapter 13, they will file a Chapter 13 in that instance to stop an eviction. It basically allows you to keep living in the residence, and you make monthly payments in the Chapter 13. That's the main difference between a 7 and a 13. You're making monthly payments, so that's a repayment plan. So say for instance, you're 2 months behind on your rent, 3 months behind on your rent. The amount that you're behind goes into what's called a bankruptcy plan. You have to keep paying your rent forward, but the amount you're behind is bundled up into your bankruptcy plan and paid off over a 3-year or a 5-year period. And that's the consideration for allowing you to stay. Some landlords still file a motion to relieve the bankruptcy protection and still try to put you out. But a lot of times it lets you stay in the house.
So y'all heard that right. He said that the bankruptcy protection protects the portion of it that you're behind on it. You will have to still proceed and paying your rent as scheduled, but the arrangement for that is only for the portion. And I think there's a certain time span that they must be behind in order for them to be qualified. Is that true? True,
Well,
where it has to be.
Well, it just depends on the landlord.
Okay.
It's basically when the landlord files an eviction proceeding, and it varies between the states. Once that's filed, you can do it, and you have time between the time you're evicted and the time the writ is issued, and the writ is the paper that allows them to put you out. Whereas in Mississippi, like Tennessee, you can still file bankruptcy in between the time of the eviction and the writ and be able to stay in the home. Whereas once they get that eviction, even though they hadn't filed a writ in Mississippi, it won't work. So, like I said, it's always good to ask specific questions in your state, but I'm gonna keep it pretty general today.
Right. So, how has bankruptcy changed during COVID-19? So, have you gotten an outstanding amount of people who are kind of been reaching out to file bankruptcy? How has that? How would you say that bankruptcy has changed in COVID-19?
It really hadn't changed other than court right now. As far as the procedures for filing, we're not having court, but we're doing court via telephone in all the states right now that I'm licensed in. I'm not really meeting with clients. I'm meeting with clients via telephone, Zoom. We're doing things of that nature because I'm staying safe at home. I don't get out too much. As far as the number of people filing, I think it's going to be more that files once we start back with everything. Right now, it's kind of slow. As far as people filing, I still have some people calling, but it's not a huge number of people. But after people start going back to work and the debts, because the debtors, the creditors are counting, and the creditors are the people that you owe. And so when I use the term creditor, I mean the person you paying the credit card to the mortgage company, the car loan place, that's the creditor. They're kind of being merciful right now. They're not doing too much to enforce. I think it's something federally in place about foreclosures right now. They know foreclosures are going to take place during this pandemic. So a lot of people are not calling right now, but once everything picks back up, then people will probably start calling more. Things that trigger bankruptcy might be illness. You might get sick for a while and you're getting thousands and thousands of dollars of hospital bills that you can't repay. You might lose your job like a lot of people are doing here. And right now it's not impacting a lot of people because they might have savings right now, but pretty soon you have to choose between paying your rent or paying your mortgage and paying for your credit card bill or paying for your car. And that's when it'll start becoming a reality. Or then you might have a divorce situation where you losing things during divorce that might force you to file bankruptcy. And a lot of people gonna come out of this. I've seen a lot more people filing divorce than bankruptcy
Yeah,
right now.
I bet. Listen, y'all, if y'all are getting value from this video, first of all, I need you to share this video. This is, we got a professional here that is taking his time out of his day just to answer the questions that we do have. So make sure you are sharing, share this video, y'all. Now, first of all, Jamal, I want to talk about student loans and how they're handled in the bankruptcy process. Now, we would love to see all of our student loans to be deleted, of course. So when they file in bankruptcies, are they able to put student loans underneath the bankruptcy?
Okay, so the key term in a bankruptcy is discharge. That's what you want to hear in a bankruptcy. Discharge is when the debt goes away, when you no longer owe the debt. Student loans are not discharged in a bankruptcy unless you can prove an undue hardship. And that's a high burden. It's a separate proceeding within the bankruptcy, and it's rarely done. So for the most part, student loans not really discharged. Now they may change the rules after this is over. I don't know, and they were entertaining that last year to change the definition and to relax what an undue hardship was as far as student loan purposes, because you still have to make an effort to pay those. So if you're not paying them at all right now, then it's not an undue hardship. But like if people were paying them right now, and then now they having to choose between what bills that may qualify for undue hardship. In a Chapter 13, it really helps more so with private student loans than federal student loans. Because in a Chapter 13, or with federal or private, you can put them in there and do your repayment through the bankruptcy as well too. Because some people don't have any forbearance or deferments, and they're having to pay for the student loans right now. So if you can't pay, it kind of gives you like a payment plan. It'll stop that garnishment that they do. It'll stop them from taking your taxes, which is called a tax offset. So it'll help you there. If you're facing a tax offset or garnishment due to student loans being delinquent, bankruptcy will help you. But it's really rare that they get wiped out. It can be done, but it's very. So, but once they clear that and relax it, I bet everybody gonna file bankruptcy.
Yeah, right. So y'all listen, and then I guess what confuses them is because when they file bankruptcy, sometimes the amounts of the student loans go down to zero. Mm-hmm. And of course, after it, I'm sure you're about to touch on that for us, the reason why it does it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just because the bureaus know that it's in bankruptcy and it's not complete. That's kind of a temporary status until the bankruptcy is done, because some people get their bankruptcy dismissed and then everything goes back like normal. So until you get a discharge, nothing is permanent pretty much. And so it's kind of like a temporary, because you're in bankruptcy, nobody can collect against you, that you had the debts before you filed. You can't get those calls anymore. Nobody can garnish you. And things of that nature. So it's kind of like a temporary setting. Everything that's in bankruptcy is going to be zeroed out.
Got it. Okay. Y'all heard that right. If you file bankruptcy and your student loans reflect zero status,
they're coming back.
They're coming back, right? You heard it from the professional. Okay. So also, all right. So that's fair. Now tell me this, like, why is it that when a client or anybody, when they file bankruptcy, it goes on to the credit report? So whether they go through with it or not, whether it's dismissed or discharged, it's still going to go on the credit report. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's a public record. That goes under the public record section of your credit report. So once you file, it's a public record and that's listed on there.
Y'all better be sure that y'all looking to file bankruptcy. That's why it's good to also set an appointment. You heard what he said, set an appointment to talk to a professional. And he'll also provide his information at the end, just in case, people who are here in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, where he'll be able to service. Now, also another question that I did have was, what is the which bankruptcy allows them to actually keep their assets? So they have the home, the cars. If you can touch on that, I think you said that, but just in case somebody's joined in late, if you can answer that question for us.
Now that varies between states too, because you have something called exemptions, and it covers a certain amount of your assets. But you can keep your property in both bankruptcies. It just depends on how much it's worth. So, for instance, a house. A lot of people will say, "Hey, my house is paid off. Can I keep my house?" Where it's a little harder in Tennessee, and that may have to force you to file a Chapter 13 because you had this house that's paid for. Tennessee only has exemptions. They have $5,000 for an individual. That means only 5,000 of the equity in the house is protected. If you're an individual with no children, 10,000 if you're a couple, 25,000 if you have children. So if your house worth 50,000, that's 25,000 that's left out there, and they can try to sell the house and use that 25,000 to pay off your creditors. That's in the Chapter 7. Whereas in Mississippi, you have more equity that you can use. Now, if you're still paying a mortgage or something like that, then they're not going to sell your house. In the Chapter 7, they'll do what's called a reaffirmation agreement. You'll sign an agreement with your creditor saying, hey, I filed bankruptcy, but I want to keep this. I don't want this debt to be discharged. And you'll sign it. That's like kind of like a new contract, basically. But you just can't be behind on those. They don't let you do reaffirmation agreements. The creditor doesn't let you do reaffirmation agreements if you're behind 2-3 months on a car or a house. But if you have a car and you have a car note attached to it, you can do a reaffirmation agreement. Or if you had a car that's cash car, if it's not worth $10,000-$20,000 and it's paid off, you can probably keep that as well. So it varies between person. So there's just something specific that you would have to ask your attorney about, because everybody is different.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Now, I've seen a lot of deletions as far as bankruptcies in my program since COVID-19. Like, it's a lot of deletions, period. Now, tell me this. What advice would you give to clients once they've filed their bankruptcy? Once it's complete, what's the best advice that you can give to someone?
In the beginning, I always encourage, and I kind of put it on the client's mind that you may want to seek credit repair after you file, after your discharge. And I tell them to wait until the discharge, because you can still clear some things off of there. And I like to say that credit repair deals with your image to people, how you look to people. You know, your credit score is your image, basically. How you, when you walk into the store, that's how you look. Oh, you beautiful to me, or you, and you know, that's how they look at you. That's your image. But bankruptcy deals with the reality of the situation, because just because something is taken off your credit doesn't mean you still don't owe it. Whereas if you file bankruptcy and get a discharge, you no longer owe it. Now it's going to still show up on your credit report. It's going to show zero balance, but discharged in bankruptcy, which still can affect you. But if you get that discharge, if those debts go down to zero, and then you go and follow up with credit repair, and then the credit repair specialist can get those things off of there that say discharge and bankruptcy, and get the bankruptcy off of there, then you brand new, you know.
I heard
so
it, brand new.
brand new. So, because the bankruptcy, if say for instance you have $40,000 worth of debt and you go into a Chapter 7 and you get that debt discharged, of course, and you can speak more on that, but debt to income ratio is a factor in your credit score. So now you've gone from owing $40,000 to $0 as far as, you know, that debt to income ratio, and that's going to help your score in a sense. And most people, if you got a bad score going into bankruptcy, bankruptcy not going to affect your score as much as a person who might have a 705 bankruptcy, then they're going to lose a lot of points. But if you already have a 400, you know, a 500, it's not going to affect your score negatively too much. It'll actually help it go up a little bit, because your debt to income ratio will reduce. So,
Got it. Okay. I would tell you a lot of my clients that do come, I think the most bankruptcies that I've ever seen on a credit report was 11 bankruptcies. So like, can they file bankruptcy? Is there a maximum amount of times that they're able to file bankruptcy, or it is not really a limit?
It's not really a limit, but it's not good to keep filing. And you probably, the one who has 11 probably had either they're over a long period of time, or it's chapter 13s. A lot of chapter 13s you can refile and refile and refile chapter 13, because a lot of chapter 13s are not successful because you got to keep up with those payments. You know, you have to make those payments. If you're not making those payments, they're going to dismiss it. And then you can refile. And then if you still don't have more money coming in, you're going to be in the same position. It's going to give you temporary relief. Okay, I kept my car for a few months, but if you can't make the payments, it's going to get dismissed again. But as far as the chapter 7, and you're successful on the chapter 7 and get the discharge, you have to wait 8 years before you can file again, chapter 7. It's a little less time if you do a chapter 13, but if you want to go to another chapter 7, you have to wait 8 years. A chapter 13, you can file chapter 13 back to back to back, really, but you're not going to have bankruptcy protection after a while if the court doesn't grant it. You start off in a chapter 13 with bankruptcy protection instantly. If you get it dismissed and file again within a year, then you only have 30 days worth of bankruptcy protection, which is called a stay, meaning that your creditors can come after you after 30 days unless you get an order extending it through the court. If you file 2 times and get 2 dismissed in a year, then you have to file a motion to impose the stay because you don't have any bankruptcy protection going in. And so you have to get permission from the court to get that bankruptcy protection. So you have to kind of go in with a plan, and a good attorney will try to help you on the front end, because if you if you hadn't paid your mortgage in 10 years and you had 10 years worth of debt to pay back on your mortgage, you're going to have high payments, because you on the mortgages, you're paying the arrearage, which is the amount you're behind, and the ongoing payments in the bankruptcy. And so think about if your mortgage is $1,000 and you're 10 years behind, you divide that by 5 years, you know, you might be paying $3,000 and $4,000 a month. And if you only making $2,000 a month, chances are you're not going to be successful. And so, yeah, that might stop your foreclosure for a minute, but pretty soon the court, the creditor, everybody gonna get tired of it, and they're gonna start seeing through it. You're just filing bankruptcy, you're abusing the process. So, you know, it's the thing to keep filing bankruptcy. It's best to go in and to remedy your situation. You don't want to keep filing. I always want to help my clients remedy the situation, even if it's not filing bankruptcy. Because you have a loan modification you could do if you're about to lose your home. You can make a deal with the car place to put the payments on the back end in order to keep your car. You can get you another car and not have to file chapter 13 and just file a chapter 7 to get rid of the old car and go forward with your new car. Like, it's ways around having to be in this long-term chapter 13. I always try to encourage people to file a 7 if it's any way possible. You know?
Okay. So tell me this, like, once they filed a chapter 13, can they transition into a chapter 7 in so many months or so many, you know, how does that work?
Yeah, you can convert into a chapter 7 if you qualify. Like I say, you still have to meet the qualifications of a chapter 7. You still have to be below the median. You still can't have a chapter 7 discharge within 8 years before the date you file a chapter 13, but it is a conversion process that you can do.
Okay.
So that's definitely, I have done that with clients. Say, for instance, they filed 13 because they were getting their car repossessed. And during the 13, they were able to get another car, or the car that they had broke down and they had no use of that car anymore. Then I say, okay, well, it may be time to convert over. Or for the eviction purposes, like you said, if you're about to lose your apartment and you end up finding another place to go to, and the only reason you filed is because you didn't want to get put out, then that's a good time to convert over to a 7 if you have some other debts you want to get rid of. And because that'll show up like one bankruptcy, because it's still the same bankruptcy number. You convert from a 13 to a 7, or you can convert from a 7 to a 13.
Okay, you can convert from a 7 to a 13. Okay. So tell me this, like, people have money right now and they're thinking of not paying bills. What type of advice would you give to these people, you know, with the stimulus check? And of course, with coronavirus, a lot of people are just really you know, they're getting money and they're not paying their bills. Of course, if there any advice that you can give in regards to that, because of course if they don't file their bills, it's going to end to them being filing bankruptcy. So what are your thoughts on that, if you have any?
Yeah, pay your bills, of course. That's definitely necessary. And if you're not working, it's going to come a time when you have to choose between the essentials and the unnecessaries, uh, being like credit cards. Because, I mean, you could be in a position, you have a good credit score, you have a high credit limit, and then now you don't have a job and you're maxing out your credit cards and things of that nature, trying to make ends meet. But definitely take care of the mortgage, the rent, the car, food, you know, those necessary things. Try not to spend on the credit cards if you can help it, but you definitely want to pay your bills because the creditor's going to call you and you don't want them calling you. And some of them going to sue you when the courts open back up. So you don't want to get sued, and you definitely don't want to get garnished when you start back working. So if it's any way possible, I mean, just call them, let them know what's going on. A lot of creditors kind of know the realities of it. There's nothing wrong with calling your creditor and say, hey, I can't make this payment. I need some time. You know, a lot of people just avoid the calls, but at least try to let them know the situation. See if you can work something out with them. I can pay you $20 a month instead of $100 a month, and see what happens.
Y'all talk to y'all creditors. You've heard it from a professional. Get on the phone and make arrangements. These are for people who are open, not your collection companies and all of that. You know, we're talking about the people who you have active relationship with, whether it's your mortgage, whether it's your car payment, your credit cards, because that all leads back to, you know, if you don't, it's definitely they're gonna want their coins. I tell y'all, listen, if you let somebody borrow some money or $1,000, $2,000, you're not just gonna say, "Oh, girl, don't worry about that. You know, bro, don't worry about that. You know, I'm good on that." No, you're gonna want your money, and that's the same concept with these companies. They're still human, just like you and I. And so the last thing I'll say before we end, Jamal, how do they contact you in the event that they just absolutely need your services? And because yeah, they're gonna be coming. I just need to. They need to know how to go about contacting you.
Okay, so you can call me at 901-295-4529. You can reach me on my website, which you can send me an email. Website is www.calljamal.com, or you can send me an email directly, J Walker, the letter J Walker at wlawassociates.com. And I have a Facebook page as well, Walker Law Associates, PLLC. I answer questions there. So.
Well, y'all heard it. So you said, so you can pretty much find him. He's tagged in this video, y'all, so you can find him on Facebook. He's also provided a good contact phone number again. And then also I will, anybody who directly needs his information, you can just inbox me. My goal is to get you all on a list where we can just send you like the replays and different things like that with the contact information. So if you need that, please just reach out to either myself, or you can reach out to Jamal either on his Facebook page. He gave you his www.calljamalwalker.com or call Jamal. Calljamal.com. That's easy. And so he also has a commercial, y'all. So on the radio or something like that, when you are listening and you hear Walker Associates, that is Jamal. Listen, I've had people that have contacted me and say, I got your information from Jamal by hearing a advertisement. So man, this is huge. Make sure you share this video, y'all. And Jamal, thank you so much just for taking the time, you know, out of your busy day. You didn't have to, and we know that you didn't have to, and we thank you so much just for taking the time to just shed light. There was a lot of nuggets that was dropped. I think we talked about more topics this time than we did last time. The questions was lit. I don't know if it's because we're in the middle of a corona, but the questions was lit. Let me make sure I don't have any. Let me check my my chat. But I don't think I have any questions. Do you guys have any questions? If so, make sure you comment on the video. Even if you're watching the replay, we'll still get the answer to you. And again, make sure you reach out. So that's pretty much it. So Jamal, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before outside of any of our questions that we have that you may want to say?
No, that's it. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can contact me or any other bankruptcy attorney that's near you, and we will be happy to give you a free consultation. I mean, the only thing you have to lose is debt. So give us a call. Give me a call for sure. Call Jamal. And I
Well,
appreciate you.
well, I thank you just so much. And just if you're still on this live, y'all, we're gonna have this each and every week. It's going to be a new professional that comes to kind of shed light on. It could be anything. Our next topic that we're going to talk about is investing. I mean, a lot of you guys have money in this in during this time, and you just don't know what you need to be doing about it. So we have a highly qualified professional that's coming on next Monday, same time, 6 p.m. So I am super excited to bring her on the live. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I'll speak a little forward. All right. Well, Jamal, that's it. You don't have to stay with us. I definitely didn't want to hold you, and so I'm gonna still remain live just in case somebody has questions about contacting, or they may have questions in regards to credit repair. So you're free to go if you want to stay. Then that's fine. But we didn't want to hold you up any further just because we've already taken up so much of your time anyway. But we thank you.
Well, I appreciate you too. And like I said, any questions, just email me or inbox me, and I'll do my best to get an answer.
Well, I thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Well, y'all, he's logging off now, so you just send your questions. Thank you, Jamal.
All right, thank you.
Y'all. So, just to let you know, like, listen, I hope that was lit for y'all because I even learned a lot of things. First of all, people contact me all the time in regards to, hey, should I file bank? Should I start the credit repair process? I'm already in bankruptcy, but listen, in order for us to take you on as a client here at Coleman Financials, your bankruptcy has to be listed as either discharged or dismissed. You cannot be actively in bankruptcy status in order to be in Coleman Financials program. And so just to give you a backdrop, just life outside of bankruptcy, again, he and I work together. But yeah, after bankruptcy, of course, you can start building your credit right away. And that's the best time, honestly, for you to start building your credit. And I've had people who have did a voluntary dismissal, meaning you didn't need bankruptcy anymore and you really wanted to start building your credit right away. But again, that's something for you to consult with your attorney about. And for Coleman Financials, we would help you with the credit portion. Or if you're not local, or if you have your own credit person, or whether you are working on it on yourself, you're able to start working on your credit right away. But just to give you a backdrop about what's going on with each and every week, we're going to have a professional that's coming up on Monday at 6 p.m. to talk to you guys about their areas of expertise. Next week, we're going to have investing. What do I do with my money? You may be that person who has their credit together, who just simply wanted to invest their money, or even if your credit is not, that's one of the areas that you want to touch on. You should want to build your coins and figure out what you want to do as far as investment wise. So she's going to shed that light on for us on next week. And then of course, I believe the following week we have a real estate agent that's going to come to you guys to talk to you about the home buying process. I know you all have heard about all of this stuff going on with the rate. She's not really going to touch on that, but she is going to give you guidance as far as what is the process in starting to your home buying process. Pretty much that's pretty much what she's going to highlight. So I had a lot of fun. If you're watching this replay, make sure that you share. Our goal is to help as many people as we can during this time. And I hope you all got a great deal of value, because I got a page full of just notes and nuggets throughout. So I am ending this thing. And again, if you need the replay, make sure you reach out and I'll be glad to send the replay out to you. So, all right, y'all, again, I'm Lavera Coleman of Coleman Financials Credit Repair. Listen, I help people all the time. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people all around just pretty much understand credit, improve their credit scores, and overall just improve their lives. Because when you improve your credit score, then you can start that business and whatever else you want. Not to say when you start your business, you can't start your business until your credit score increase. No, that's not what I'm saying. But when you get that credit right, you're able to do so much more. You're able to invest, you're able to get, loans and different things that you need in order to run that business on a high level. So, all right, y'all, I'm logging out, and peace and love, y'all. Bye.